socks and shoes off in the Smith Center. I know people that are at home that are germaphobes or, during COVID-19 era, this is just blowing your mind. Yeah. This is making you feel uncomfortable. I was in there sockless watching the second half of the title game. Now, luckily, it was dark in there, so I don't think anybody else really noticed. But that's one of the reasons that we couldn't run down to the court, because that's what happened after when Carolina had the outlet to Justin Jackson.
They all rushed
and the slam. Floor. They rushed the floor. We wanted to get down there quickly. Couldn't get down there as quick, though, because I had to put my socks and shoes back on. But yeah, I mean, it's moments like that Roy Williams and, the era of basketball that he brought to Carolina, it created moments like that, and everybody's got them. I mean, everybody's got their own little superstitious things that they did, their own moments where, they were in the Smith Center to witness some of those crazy things or those weird moments like we just told you about.
We got to be there to see the court renamed or be named after him. We were at that late night with Roy.
That's right.
That we were there to see the 2017 banner unveiled. Those are moments that, like Adam Lucas wrote an article saying when he retired, a life-changing love to the University of North Carolina. He has given me and many countless other Carolina fans a lifelong loving of Carolina basketball, a devotion to the program. It's going to be different, and it'll be very weird seeing Hubert Davis lead the team in the program. I'm 100% on board, and I do think Carolina basketball, and I tweeted this out, they are going to thrive under his watch. But we didn't get to experience the Dean Smith to Roy Williams transition with Bill Guthridge and Matt Doherty sandwiched between there. And there's a big part of this fan base that never let go of Dean Smith and held that against Roy Williams. I'm not going to say that we're going to hold things against Hubert Davis moving forward. I know I am not. But that's what it's going to feel like, because it's going to be a different experience, because the impact he's had on us is it's life-changing.
Well, it's going to be different, and it's not going to be different in certain aspects, because very similar to Dean, a lot of the people that were willing to accept when Roy came back, they saw a lot of things that Dean did in the way that Roy did things. And we're going to see a lot of the stuff that Roy did in what Hubert does. And that's where I think that you've got a great coach. You did more than okay, Roy, because you got a guy that is going to do things the way that you did them to try to have as much success as you did. And there's no guarantee that that's even going to happen. That's how you know that you've done a phenomenal job. And that's, I think, the most frustrating thing, because, I almost want to, go and find where Roy lives and walk up to his front door, knock on the door, and grab him by the shoulders and just try to explain to him how successful you've been, how much you mean to most of these Tar Heel fans. Look, there are some on social media that criticized you. Who gives a damn? Those people don't know what they're talking about. We know the Roy Williams that was here, that devoted everything to this program day in and day out for years. And not only this program, the university as a whole. I mean, remember that just a few weeks ago, he donated $3 million to basically pay for the scholarships of most of the, non-revenue sports athletes. I mean, not many other people are going to do that. There's, and see, this is the problem that I always get, and this is when we get into this discussion probably sometime this offseason, because we've always been meaning to have this discussion. I think now with him retiring,
it's appropriate.
It's probably time to have it. When people say that, well, when you talk about Dean, you're talking about a great man and a great coach. Well, are we trying to say that Roy Williams wasn't a great man as well? I mean, Roy Williams learned from Dean Smith that not only were you supposed to be a great basketball coach for the university, but you were supposed to be someone that everybody in the university looked up to and revered. You were supposed to be able to come in and help the university as a whole, not just the basketball program. That's exactly what Roy Williams did for all these years. And it's why when you go through and when we do that podcast, when people write those articles, whenever you just have that conversation, if you're one of the people listening to this podcast and you're on one side or another, or you're even down the middle if that's possible, there's a reason why that conversation is so tough, because they are so similar in terms of the people that they were, the coaches that they were, and the impact that they left on Carolina athletics. And that, I think, is the biggest worry when it comes to moving on from Roy Williams, is you've gotten lucky enough to not only have one guy like that, like, you've seen that. See, that's like with Duke. I mean, they were talking about that this morning on the Mac Attack when they were talking about the hire of Hubert Davis and whether or not, Carolina would be able to move forward and have success. The guy that hosts the show, Chris McLean, he asked my opinion, but first, before he asked my opinion, he said something that I ended up agreeing with, which was the fact that with Coach K at Duke, it's going to be even harder for them to replace Coach K, because that's their entire program's success is pretty much Coach K. At Carolina, that's not the case. There's two guys here that have gotten it done. So people are wondering, you've gotten lucky twice to get Hall of Famers. Are you going to be able to get lucky a third time? That's where I think a lot of people are sort of concerned. And that's the type of legacy that Roy Williams has left behind. The fact that you can put him in that conversation with the greatest coaches of all time. And, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. If he had reached 1,000 wins, I think that you could have made you could have made the argument, especially if he would have added another national championship, that he may have been the greatest coach in college basketball history.
There definitely was that compelling argument if he would have gotten there. And I know selfishly, I wanted him to get 879. I wanted him to get 880 to pass Dean Smith. Wanted him to get 900. I've got the T-shirt that I am planning on. I believe I'm going to get it framed and hang up in my room. I wanted 1,000 wins. I wanted that fourth national championship, maybe 5, because I don't think Coach K will win another one. And then that makes that argument all that more compelling. But I'm not going to take for granted the 903 and the 5 Final Fours and the 3 national championships, because he did it, at just a level that you don't see in college basketball anymore. And he was able to, everyone that complained about him during the he didn't adapt. Well, he adapted every time he won a title in 05, 09, and 17. He was adapting this year. And so I just think, and when it comes to his love for the university, Dean Smith always said the basketball program was the front porch to the University of North Carolina. He was the greatest ambassador that university has ever had. No one can ever even come close to having the impact that he's had on that place. And that's not disclaiming other people. There are a lot of other people, not just in athletics, that have left their mark on that university. But none will ever be able to do it with the way that Roy Williams did, and that's what makes him special. That's what made being a fan and supporter of his special, because he was a good guy, but he was a great coach, but an even better guy. And there's just really no other way to really make that sentiment known. And I made it known when we last recorded on here. As we transition into the new era of Carolina basketball, the podcast now will become the Hubert Hoopers podcast. We're not going to forget the legacy that he left, just like we've never forgotten the legacy that Dean Smith has left. It'll be, and I think that's what makes this new era so beautiful, is that in Hubert Davis, you've got a blend of both. You've got a blend of the two people we revere more than anyone in the history of this university, and you've got a mixture of both leading your program. So how can you not be excited about where Carolina basketball is going to go? But with that, we are going to shut it down for one last time here on the Roy's Boys podcast. before I let you go, get you guys over to the website HeelToughBlog.com, where we had you covered about the news regarding Hubert Davis's hire, some already potential or already staff changes he has made, and potential staff changes that are becoming in the moments. Armando Bacot has entered his name in the NBA draft without an agent, so he does have the ability to come back to school if he doesn't like the feedback he gets while he goes through the NBA draft process. It's a really good decision by him to figure out how to make himself a better player if he does return to college. And so we've got you covered on the basketball front, and we got you covered on the football and baseball front as news and nuggets around both those programs will filter. But as expected, this is all the focus is on Carolina basketball, as it should be, as the university and the program is going through a monumental time right now. And lastly, I just want to thank all of you for all the support y'all have given the podcast over the last 3 years. As I mentioned, the Hubert Hoopers podcast will be found right here at the same where you've already subscribed and the same RSS feed. But our numbers the last week and a half or so, they have been astronomical. The most downloads we've experienced in a week span. The Roy Williams retirement became the second most downloaded podcast in history of our podcast at over 220 downloads. So just want to thank everybody that has been a part of us as the Roy's Boys. Hope you stick around for the Hubert Hoopers podcast, because I've already got some great things coming in motion, a new logo being designed, new pod intro coming as well. Going to do some different things with that podcast that we didn't do on here, but still the same thing. Me and Anthony will be with you talking about the Tar Heels, talking about Carolina basketball, and we look forward to talking to you guys on that edition starting up very soon. And lastly, I'd like Anthony for coming on and talking about Roy Williams. This isn't easy, but it's been a lot of fun because he's been a lot of fun, and we were lucky as mess to have him as our head coach for the last 18 years. So with that, we want to thank you guys for listening. Thank Anthony for hosting, and as always, go Tar Heels.
Thank you, Roy.